You are listening to the Knightline Sports Network, brought to you by Travis Dever and the Dever team, 386-690-1636.
Welcome to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Night Nation's only call-in show goes live now.
All right, hello Night Nation, hello Orlando. This is Knightline at Night. I'm Andrew Phegley. We're live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barlaw, assisting injured veterans get the help they deserve. Give Chad a call, 407-599-9036, or visit protectingvets.com. You can also call Travis Dever for all your New Smyrna Beach real estate needs, 386-690-1636. And if you need a new or used car, truck, or Jeep, you can call me, Andrew Phegley, at 386-736-3000. 386-736-3000, or you can come and visit me at DeLand Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, and I will give you a special discount, of course, if you say go Knights and charge on to me. I got Roger Phipps here with me at Night Bengal from the Santa Rosa Beach Studios, and he's at Night Bengal on Twitter, and I am Andrew Phegley at AP Knightline on Twitter, AP_Knightline on Twitter, and you can find all the rest of our content on NightlineSports.com. Roger, Big Ben is out again this week, had some family stuff he needed to take care of, so Roger, it's just you and me.
Well, I'll shoulder half the load at least. You got the rest.
Okay. Well, not a big sports week going on. It is pretty much starting to be the dead of summer, which means there's not a ton to talk about, but there are things. We're getting ready for football, which is extremely exciting. That's probably the most exciting thing of all. Personally, football is getting closer by the day. I'm not sure how many days we are. I'll try to figure that out maybe when Roger's talking. But we're getting there. So maybe we'll talk a lot about football tonight.
Well, I mean, one of the biggest things with football and what's going on right now is recruiting, right? The dog days of summer, as they say, means that the coaches are out recruiting. We had a big recruiting weekend this past weekend with a ton of 2023 and 2024 talent. One of those was Lake Mary cornerback Braden Marshall, 4-star. And it seems like there's some positivity around that. It was pretty interesting. They had to change things up and move some things inside because the weather did not cooperate on Saturday. They did some watermelon eating contests, some cake eating contests. They did dodgeball, etc. It seemed to go really, really well. And they had some really cool pictures. They did this setup this year of the beach with different visors for the helmets. And there's a sword in that picture that's actually pretty cool. It's Citronaut themed. But some really, really big names on campus. We had 6 of our current commits that were on campus for this weekend. And then, nothing but 4-stars. So coming out of the weekend, there wasn't as much expectation of new commits, just simply because folks were still taking official visits over the summer. And even if they wanted to commit, they're probably going to want to try to at least experience some of the other schools. We did, however, get a very, very exciting transfer in former Alabama receiver Javon Baker. He's transferred to UCF. He was at Alabama last year, was supposed to go to Kentucky, never enrolled, and decided to come to UCF instead. He's a 4-star receiver, 6'2", 206 pounds. Didn't have that much productivity the past 2 seasons. He was on the national championship team. He just, there were so many Alabama guys that mostly are juniors and seniors by the time they're playing on the offense. He grew up in Georgia, and he had 15 offers coming out of high school from every SEC school to Michigan to Florida State. So pretty much everybody that you can think of. And he was actually the number 20. He was the 20th ranked receiver in his class. So From what some of the Alabama reporters were saying, he had the surest hands on the team, and so I'm expecting big things from him. He'll have 3 years left to play for UCF. He'll be immediately eligible, and it'll be really interesting because we have basically an all SEC wide receiving core besides Ryan O'Keefe at this point.
Alrighty. Well, I mean, yeah, that's good. That's exciting. 84 days, by the way, until football starts. September 1st, UCF versus...
It can't get here fast enough.
Yeah. Who is it that they're playing? The first game? Is it...
It's an FCS
gosh.
team.
I don't have it in front of me. South Carolina State. Thursday, September 1st. So... 84 days. So we're getting there. We're getting there. Slowly but surely, it seems we are getting there. Yeah, kind of excited about this Alabama receiver. I mean, I guess. I mean, the thing that gets me is just because a guy went to Alabama in the beginning and now is transferring from Alabama doesn't mean that he's the end-all, be-all of wide receivers, the best wide receiver we've ever had, blah, blah, blah. People get really excited when they see the name Alabama. I try not to get too excited with that. I mean, we've had some transfers from Alabama before, and you always wonder sometimes why these guys are transferring. So I'm going to hold my excitement for this deal until... I see what the dude does on the field, personally.
Right.
I mean, I'm excited, of course, getting a kid from the SEC. But why isn't he staying in the SEC? That's my question.
Playing time, more than anything else, was his reasoning.
But playing time meaning that he's not good enough to be in the SEC, or playing time because what? I mean, that's always my question with these kids that transfer. I mean, technically we're still in the G5, right? Technically, next year we'll be in the Power 5. But why? I mean, playing time, I guess. I don't know. I'm a little bit weary of these transfers.
And you have every right to be. I mean, we had that, where was he from? The Michigan transfer, Johnson, who hasn't cracked the field yet, and it was a 5-star. So you have every right to be.
That guy was from Notre Dame, I think.
Or Notre Dame, that's right.
5-star, and I think we saw him maybe one time last season altogether.
Right.
Yeah.
So with this guy, though, he did play. I mean, he had last year he had 7 receptions for 101 yards, which isn't much. 2020 was the COVID year. So, for him, it was more, just breaking out from the depth chart, from everything that I've read.
Yeah.
So, hopefully that bodes well for us. He actually grew in not just weight, but also height. He grew an inch in height. Coming out of school. So, and from what I read about him from the Alabama reporters, he had the surest hands of all the receivers in camp and was expected to make some noise. But Alabama is Alabama, as far as recruits and their 4s and 5-stars that are floating around there.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, that's good, but I try not to get too excited when I see somebody coming from, one of those
schools,
blue blood schools, because you got to think that there's a reason why. I guess that's not as big of a deal now as it used to be with the transfers, because anybody can transfer anywhere they want. You know what I'm saying? Before it used to be if a guy, well, of course, but before it used to be when a guy transferred from one school to another, most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, it was because he didn't get along with whatever coach or whatever. And I have to bring my mind to this is 2022, and the transfer rules are different, and it's much more random now than it used to be, and kids just want a different view to wake up to versus where they were in the beginning. It isn't necessarily something that is a negative against them. So Will be interesting. And the other question is with him, what happened in Kentucky? Why did he not stay where he transferred in the first place? Just like our former quarterback that went to USC and then to Oklahoma, you know.
Yeah, there have been a couple
we all
of
thought
things
that was like really a, kind of a shady thing to do, and I don't know. I'm not dogging the guy yet. I know it seems like I am, and that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is just that I personally don't get too excited. I try not to get too excited anyway. I have to tell myself, don't be too excited just because you see that this guy was at Alabama for a year or whatever. So,
yeah, and there's been some things floating around on that. I won't comment on all of them, but the most recent thing that I've read is just basically that there's an extra layer to transfer between SEC schools, and the timing didn't work out for him to be able to start camp. And
I'm reading something right here that says Alabama transfer wide receiver Javon Baker shares that Kentucky decommitted him, revoking his scholarship offer. So
correct.
That's
what
interesting.
And from what I read, it was because they couldn't get clearance from Alabama to allow him to transfer in time for summer.
But he could transfer in time for summer here.
Right, because you don't have the SEC, the additional layer of the SEC interconference transfer rules.
Okay, yeah. So
that's the.
Do we have
latest thing that I heard.
interconference transfer rules? Because I know one of our players went to USF.
I don't know. I don't remember what the Americans were because we really haven't gotten a lot of transfers from American teams. We typically get them from P5 or in some cases FCS. But we haven't, I don't know of any that we've gotten from within the American Conference.
Well, in basketball, we got that player that's coming this year from ECU. So that would be one.
That's true.
Yeah. So I don't know. It just these are just thoughts that I have when when I see certain transfers.
Thoughts with Andrew.
I'm like, okay. I mean, yeah, he was at Alabama for a little while. We have had some guys that have come from schools like that and have done pretty well. Where was we had a corner that did really well that came from Alabama at one point.
That's correct. That was the 2017 team, I think.
I don't remember, but I think the guy wound up, being pretty good. And
he was.
Yeah. So might even be in the NFL now. I'm not sure. But where did Mike Hughes come from? He wasn't.
North Carolina.
Oh, that's right. He was North Carolina. Yeah. And he actually, well, we won't get into that story.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of reasons. All kinds of reasons that people transfer. So, yeah. It's just going to get even weirder from here with the transfer stuff, just because it's literally free agency. I've said this time and time again. This is literally free agency of college football, and I mean, it's at some point it's going to be confusing to know like what team what player went to and has come from and all that stuff. They're not going to be able to keep it straight.
Right.
It's kind of like when. In the NFL, I mean, you if you don't really pay attention during the off season of what's going on with your team, you're going to see all these names and be like, well, where did that guy go? And where's this guy from? And, it's just going to be very confusing. So that's how I am with college basketball. And then when players go to the NBA, I'm, of course, a Kansas graduate. Kansas basketball is really good, an alumni. And I don't even follow the NBA because there's so many players from Kansas. I'd have to watch like pretty much every team because there's somebody on, most of the teams from Kansas. So that's why I don't even try to follow the NBA, and especially because I really don't like professional basketball. But that's another story for another time.
Right.
So, yeah. But, we did need a wide receiver and pretty bad. So especially when Jalen Robinson, is that
Flash, Jalen Robinson,
yeah, went away and decided to go wherever he's gone. I didn't even know where he's gone. So, all right. Well, we'll try to figure all this out. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back on Knightline at Night.
Hey, this is Travis Dever, Kai's Real Estate, the Dever team, New Smyrna Beach. Your source for real estate and everything else, New Smyrna Beach. Proud sponsor of Knightline. Call me anytime at 386-690-1636. That's 386-690-1636. Let me show you my hometown, New Smyrna Beach, UCF's favorite beach. Go Knights and charge on.
An auto accident can change your life forever. At Chad Barr Law, we are raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Hi, I'm Chad Barr, and I want you to know that our entire team is dedicated to providing you with the representation you deserve in your greatest time of need. If you or a loved one have been injured in an auto accident, call 407-599-9036 for a free consultation or visit chadbarlaw.com. At Chad Barr Law, our clients come to us in need and leave as family. Offices, Altamont Springs.
Looking for more out of your Porsche? Look no further than Flat6Motorsports.com. They have the widest selection of aftermarket Porsche parts anywhere in the world. With over 85 product lines and in-depth expertise, Flat6Motorsports.com is your one-stop shop for any Porsche performance needs. Whether you're shopping for intakes, exhausts, suspension, or tuning, they have you covered. Flat6Motorsports.com is the premier Porsche aftermarket specialist. Check them out at Flat6Motorsports.com.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, Andrew Phegley back here on Knightline at Night with you live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barr Law. I got Roger Phipps with me at Night Bengal on Twitter, and from the Santa Rosa Beach Studios in beautiful Santa Rosa Beach, Florida. Roger, what do we want to talk about in this short little segment here? Maybe you had something on softball, I think, that you wanted to talk about, right?
Yeah, so UCF softball has been invited to the Tax Act Clearwater Invitational for next year, which is actually a pretty solid and very, very competitive tournament. Quite frankly, it's stacked. You've got everybody from Arizona to Virginia Tech to UCLA. You've got OSU, Texas A&M, Alabama. There's a ton, and FSU. But really, the ones that stand out to me are FSU, Arizona, and Virginia Tech. They all, and Michigan, obviously, all had really, really, really good teams. UCLA typically has a good team as well. So it's going to be a tough way to start the season, but I think that goes to show the respect that this softball program is receiving now in the NCAA softball world.
Now, is that the same tournament that we played in St. Pete Clearwater last year? The St. Pete Clearwater Elite Invitational.
Nope, this is a different one. This is the Tax Act Clearwater Invitational. There's a few that run over there.
Oh, okay. Well, we played in one last year. It had Wisconsin, Michigan, Texas Tech, Tennessee, Texas, and Florida State. So I don't know if maybe they changed the name of it or what, but it almost seems like it might be the same one. And then we played this year as well in the CFX Classic. I think that was here in Orlando. So,
well, the quality of these teams that are in this one, I mean, especially the programs coming out of this year, I mean, they represent top programs in the sport of softball. So this is going to be good for the RPI. This is going to be good to tune up the ladies. One of the things that Coach Bear talked about this year when they were preparing for the regionals was the fact that she wasn't very impressed with the team the first few games that they came out. And so that allowed them to make adjustments and do some coaching things that really helped them later on and make them be way more successful as the season progressed. So, when you only lose like 11 games or 14 games, I mean, that's saying a lot. You got to take that with a grain of salt, but clearly the errors they were making, et cetera, helped them get better and get ready for that season.
Is the NCAA softball World Series over with now? I know that Oklahoma was playing someone in it.
Texas.
Is it over?
I need to check. Oklahoma won the first game 15 to, I think it was like 5.
Yeah, it sounds like they might as well just give it to Oklahoma.
Well, I mean,
which is fine because that's who beat the Knights, and got them out of their super regional. So as long as, I'm rooting for Oklahoma, and it's really hard for me to root for Oklahoma for anything. But since they beat our Knights, I have to just say, they have to be the best team if they beat our Knights the way that they did, and they handled them very very swiftly in that super regional, right?
Yeah, so it's funny. I looked up the game, right? And Brito from Oklahoma, because they're playing the second game right now, and they're leading 3-2. And as I was pulling it up, she hits a home run at the top of the 5th.
So they're playing the second game now.
Correct.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure that will probably be pretty quick as well. So hopefully our UCF Knights will have a even better season next year. So hopefully that tune-up works. We'll be right back on Knightline at Night. If you haven't figured it out yet, I love Tijuana Flats. I would love them even if they weren't a partner with us on the Knightline Sports Network. They have all kinds of great Tex-Mex food, and it's fresh, by the way. Made to order burritos, tacos, enchiladas, chimichangas, quesadillas, bowls, nachos, and taco salads. And if you haven't tried the queso, you are completely missing out. It is the best queso that I've ever had in my life. Absolutely hands down. And the sauce bar that they have, everything from wild to mild in there. Absolutely awesome stuff. Not only do I love the food at Tijuana Flats, but I love the company, a UCF-born company. And they give back to the community with the Justin Queso Foundation. So head to your local Tijuana Flats. Tex-Mex for everyone. Hey Jeep Wrangler owners, have you ever sat in your office at work and watched the rain just pour into your Jeep because the weatherman said that there was a 0 chance of rain? Or you put your doors back on because there was a 100% chance and then not a drop of rain fell? Well, there's a company out there that can help take the worry away and give you the peace of mind to be without your doors. The company's called Life Without Doors. They make waterproof rain curtains and dash covers for Wranglers. Life Without Doors is there to help make the decision to leave the doors at home an easy one. Find out more at lifewithoutdoors.com.
Spice up your company with homemade marketing services from Tasty Gravy Creative. Tasty Gravy serves up a menu of budget-friendly marketing, graphic design, and public relations services customized to your specific goals. Co-owned by a UCF graduate, Tasty Gravy can help refresh your brand, strengthen your online presence, or reinforce your company's message. Contact Tasty Gravy for help with your website, social media, marketing, advertising materials, and more. Visit tastygravy.com.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, Andrew Phegley back with you here on Knightline at Night, live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barr Law, assisting injured veterans get the help they deserve. Give Chad a call, 407-599-9036, or visit protectingvets.com. You can call Travis Dever for all your New Smyrna Beach real estate needs, 386-690-1636. And if you need a new or used car, truck, or Jeep, you can call me, Andrew Phegley, 386-736-3300. 336-3000, 386-736-3000, or you can come and visit me at DeLand Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. If you tell me Go Knights Charge On, I will get you a special discount. All right, got Roger Phipps here with me at Night Bengal on Twitter. From the Santa Rosa Beach studios, and once again, I'm Andrew Phegley at Knightline AP_Knightline on Twitter. Jeez,
We'll get there eventually.
I mess this up all the time. I do need to say, and you can find the rest of our content on NightlineSports.com. I think every show I have messed that intro up at least once. It's just one of those things. It's right here in front of me. I'm reading it off of a screen that I always have in front of me, and I mess it up somehow. My brain goes faster than my mouth does, I think, or something like that. So anyway, okay. I think that there was a baseball story, I think, kind of interesting to UCF.
Uh-huh.
So, from what I understand, the Ohio State coach was fired from Ohio State, and
Correct.
They may be interested in Greg Lovelady, which is the UCF coach, to fill that position.
Correct.
I don't know why, but
Well, there's a few reasons. One, remember we got him from Wright State. He was the head coach there and was pretty successful. So Wright State is in Ohio, so he's got some connections there and knows how to recruit there and was very successful. Their Wright State's team made the regional, I think it was like 3 or 4 times under his leadership. And, I know he isn't meeting our expectations here, right? But when people are looking across the spectrum at coaches, he's coached at a higher level. He's not a P5 coach. It'll be tough for them to get one. And he's maintained over a 60% win percentage, which not a lot of coaches have done that. Now, all that being said, is he the right coach for UCF long term? That's debatable. But from it is being reported that he's on the list to be looked at.
well, you know what I have to say to Ohio State? Take him, please. Because we need something different at UCF. Because it hasn't really worked out for him at UCF. It's been better than the guy before him. Was it Rooney that was before him?
Rooney, correct.
It's been, I think, better than that, as far as I know. But still, has not done what we expected from him or expect from our head coach for baseball at UCF. We have a very nice stadium there to play in. We're in Florida where you can play baseball all year round. Hotbed of recruiting, I believe, for baseball as well.
It is.
And
Absolutely.
just hasn't done what he should have. I mean, this team should be in a regional every year. I mean, honestly, there's no reason why they shouldn't.
At the very least, there should be an expectation for it.
There is
You know
an
what I mean?
expectation. That's why I'm saying. I mean, there is an expectation to be in a regional, and he hasn't even sniffed one, as far as I know.
Well, no.
I mean, maybe once. Maybe once.
Yeah, he was first 4 out. We were first 4 out. I think his first.
But first 4
year.
out doesn't mean that you were. I mean, you were close, but that I guess
You were
that
bubble
is
team.
sniffing it.
Yeah.
But that's not in it. I mean, it doesn't matter.
there
You're
was-
either first or last, right?
Yeah,
So-
there was a lot of arguments around that team though, and that they should have been included, nationally. So there's
But
been
how long has
times
he been here now?
I want to say 6 seasons.
Yeah, that's like more than enough to get your program in line, in my opinion.
Well,
like,
I can tell you, the one thing he didn't have was that 2020 team, that was really, really good, and that got curtailed by COVID. So that was the other team that was expected to make a regional and got off to a really, really hot start.
Yeah, so that's the excuse that he has. You know what I'm saying? He's got like one excuse. The 2020 season for most sports was an excuse. So I would think if he does stay here, he should be on a fairly hot seat. If he does stay here. I'm
going to imagine if he gets the chance to coach Ohio State, he's going to go.
Yeah, I mean, that is to be determined if they take him or not. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So he's been at UCF since July 11th, 2016. So 6th season, yes, you're right, for the 2022 season. So next year would be his 7th season. Interesting. I mean, whatever.
So to turn some good news on baseball, Andrew Sundin, our very own freshman slugger, was named a freshman All-American this week. So that's super exciting.
Oh, and he didn't transfer yet? That's good.
No, not yet.
Because it seems like, oh boy, it's coming. You know it's coming. Every time we have something good, somebody will transfer now. I don't even think it started in baseball yet, like the real transfer type stuff like it is in the other sports. It seems like, I'm not sure. I don't really pay attention to baseball that much.
Baseball's a little different because they only have 11 and a half scholarships that they have to spread around. So not everybody's on a full scholarship or even half. They have some that are half scholarships, etc. So baseball, it's a little less lucrative to do that. And, I would guess that NIL would have some offset there. ECU does some creative things as far as grants are concerned to pay for, to make up for that scholarship. But the baseball team has way more players than 11 and a half players. And that's, I think, the limiting factor on that.
Interesting. Okay. Didn't know that. What else?
Just since we're talking about bright spots, Ben, always mentions our women's track team. They did qualify for the final in the 4x100 today, which is super exciting for them. They actually had their best time they've had all season and placed number 2 behind UCLA for the championship. So they're going to be in the championships for the final this year.
Okay, for the 4x100 relay?
Correct.
Okay, anything else that they did? Because I know that there was quite a bit of excitement, and I even said I think my hot take last week was that somebody would come out of there as a national champion.
Yeah, the rest of the track and field teams basically have not gotten to the point where they're in the finals yet. That was, I think, the first event that got to the finals. The rest of them are still, trying to qualify. But right now, the 4x100 is the first one that I see where they actually qualify.
And by the time you hear this, it'll be long over with.
Correct.
Because we're on Thursday night again recording this. Saturday's final events, and I don't know why I'm saying this because you're not going to hear it. Saturday's final events can be seen on ESPN and streamed on ESPN3 starting at 1:30, which if you can time travel ahead, maybe, I don't know. Or time travel back, I don't know. It's so confusing.
There you go.
Because this is airing on Sunday and we're recording it on Thursday. So
now going back to football, we also signed a new Aussie punter. So we finally got our Aussie style punter in Mitch McCarthy. He's committed to UCF. He did play professional rugby. He's 24 years old, so we'll be able to punt with the best of them now and have one of those crazy rugby style kickers that run to the left or right and then kick off from their foot.
Well, didn't Mac Loudermilk do that a little bit? Wouldn't he be considered an Aussie-style kicker?
No,
so the guy is 24 as well, so...
Yeah.
Okay. That's kind of weird.
And,
he has NCAA eligibility, obviously.
He was playing... He's Australian, was playing professional rugby, so he left there and is now coming to the United States to study. So he went straight into professional rugby. They have a system to bring those guys up. So... he's not your typical punter. He doesn't look like Mac Loudermilk. He's built like an athlete because in rugby they don't just punt or kick. They do the whole deal. So offense, defense, etc. So he's pretty stacked.
Yeah, it's kind of that's a two-way sport, like completely. So
exactly.
I love rugby, by the way. I didn't know if you knew that. I'm a big rugby fan, actually. I like French rugby more than anything else because my sister lives in Toulouse, used to live in Toulouse, France, and they have one of the all-time great French rugby teams, the Stade de Toulouse, and I'm actually a big fan of theirs. So I watch a lot of rugby during rugby season. They have won the Heineken Cup over and over and over. They're one of the most celebrated French teams. I think they play in the French 7 or something like that. I can't remember the name of the league, but rugby's a great sport. I wish it was a little bit bigger in college. UCF has an incredible rugby, a club team who have been national champions multiple times, by the way.
Correct.
I don't know if they're
play
still...
for it all the time too.
What's that?
They still play for it. I don't think they were champs last year, but I think the year before last they were.
Okay. Yeah, they've been multiple time national champions for sure, though. So that's cool. I wish it wasn't just a club sport. It would be cool if we had actual college rugby at more schools, in the United States, personally. It's a fun game, and if you watch it, you'll really see where American football came from. Because it came from rugby, and a lot of the things and the way that things are called and the way that things look are very similar but very different at the same time. Have you ever watched it?
No. Never really got into it.
Okay. It's a lot of football things.
I mean, I know that there's a scrum and they pitch and then they have to pitch back and then try to go, and it's basically like a moving offensive line.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
The ball has to come out of that scrum though and come backwards, and then you can pass it, but you don't pass it overhand, you pass it underhand, and yeah. So you still kick field goals and you still score touchdowns and stuff, but there's really it's a running game. There's not really much of it's passing, yes, but they kind of twist the ball and pass it laterally. It's not like a forward passing thing, but it's really cool. It's kind of a mix between soccer, American soccer, and football, and it can be extremely exciting. I've actually gone to games in France before, and in some small towns. They have big rugby teams, so you would be kind of surprised at the stadiums. You're driving along in a small, countryside village in France, and all of a sudden there's a stadium there. Well, that's a rugby stadium, so it's different and it's exciting. So, what else, really quickly? Is there anything else we need to talk about in this segment?
Just
we got
real
a couple
quick,
minutes.
UCF. Yeah, just real quick, UCF basketball. The Big 12 will introduce permanent rivals for 2023 when we hopefully join. It looks like we're going to be paired up with Houston, which means that we're guaranteed a home with them every year.
In all sports, correct?
No, this is just for basketball so far.
Oh.
They haven't figured out the divisions and everything for football. And then, but more than likely, yes, because West Virginia will probably be paired with Cincinnati because they're old school rivals.
Yeah, that's
and then
a bummer.
The Big 12 will also continue with the Big East Challenge, which means that the Big 12 teams will also play against Big East teams every year. So not only do we have to go through Big 12 basketball, but Big East basketball. And we'll play 8 teams once and 5 teams twice per year for 18 total league games.
All right, well, that works. All right, going into another break here. We'll be right back on Knightline at Night.
I'm Jeff Allen. Join me each and every week on the Knightline Sports Network for the AAC Report. We bring you in-depth coverage of each school in football, basketball, baseball, softball, soccer, golf, tennis, and more, as well as bring you insider interviews and focus in on the biggest games and news of the week. That's all right here each week on the AAC Report, only on the Knightline Sports Network.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back with you, Andrew Phegley here on Knightline at Night, live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barlaw. This is the final segment, so that means it is time for the Tijuana Flats Hot Take of the Week. Welcome to the Tijuana Flats Hot Take of the Week. Visit TijuanaFlats.com for takeout or delivery, or visit your local Tijuana Flats. Tex-Mex for everyone. All right, the Tijuana Flats Hot Take of the Week. Everyone knows that I love Tijuana Flats. I went there last week, have not made it there this week yet, but there's still time. You can always go there for very fresh Tex-Mex food, in quick, out quick, at a good value, and everything like that. They've always got some kind of special going on. There's always a Taco Tuesday special, and they've always got something new on the menu, which is really exciting. Your Tijuana Flats Hot Take of the Week is, Roger?
Well, for this week's Tijuana Flats Hot Take of the Week, I'm going to say that 4-star cornerback who's from Lake Mary, Braden Marshall, will sign with UCF on his commitment date on July 30th.
Okay, July 30th. Interesting. Okay, so mine, I'm gonna try to predict. I'm still going to go with that track and field thing. So the 4x1 relay, 4x100 relay is in the final, right? That's what you said earlier, right? They're in the final.
Correct. And they ran their best race and were number 2 in their to qualify for the final.
Wow, qualified number 2, so they're on the, probably on the inside where they're starting hopefully lane number 2. I think that's how it works. I don't know. I think they're going to do it. For some reason, I think that they are going to win the national championship in the 4x100 relay. And that will be huge, huge, huge for UCF track and field. And I still think that there's going to be a girl or two that does really well in one of the other events as well. Probably the hurdles, I would think. So hopefully that comes true and we get a national championship in track and field on at least one event. That would be absolutely awesome. It would. And then that will get some of those ladies prepared maybe for the Olympics as well. They what's the hurdler girl? I can't think of her name right now. What is her name?
Renaya Jones.
Renaya Jones got snubbed out of it last year, basically, out of the Olympics.
Well, she kind of tripped out of the gate. That was the problem.
Yeah. So
she made it to the qualifiers.
Yeah, it wasn't her year last year to get into the Olympics, but maybe this next one will be. So hopefully for her. Anything else really quick? We got a couple minutes here, like 2 minutes.
Yeah, Kalia Davis signed with San Francisco officially. And, we've been talking about the story of Terrence Lewis. And looks like he was successful in his attempt, so he is free and clear of any charges that were against him. So that's good news for UCF.
Yeah, we had talked about that before, and obviously we hate to see anything like that happen to any athlete at UCF, get in trouble with the law and all that stuff. And glad to see that he is free and clear from that because he has a very bright future, I believe, in football. He was the guy that was a former 5-star player that was injured and then never really got to play last year, and now he is at UCF from Maryland, correct? That's the guy?
Correct.
Okay, so
tore his ACL.
Yeah, so good for him, and hopefully he can play really hard for us and get everything back on track and everything like that. All right, that's it for us. Same time, same place next week. Go Knights.
Charge on.